Morning, guys. All right, so we got a new project in. This is Vicky. So she's an 85 Crown Vic. a little body damage. 302 automatic. Pretty decent car. It runs really good. Pretty decent brown interior. It's not bad, especially for an 85. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. Vinyl top is, I mean, of course it's got its cracks, but I don't see any bubbling up underneath the roof or up underneath of it, so might actually still be in pretty decent condition. And a little bit of rust right there. A little damage on the trunk. Oh, a little bit of rust right there. That's weird. But she is fixing to get pulled in, put on the rack, and pulling the body off the frame. This one's going to get a full 2x4 rectangle tube frame. It's getting Super Duty axles with, I think, 488 gears. Cummins 12 valve. P-pump, of course. Probably going to get the same turbo that Greta has. What else? Super Duty gearbox. It's going to be set up a lot like Greta, with the exception of it's getting 46-inch Goodyears all the way around versus 40s in the front, 53s in the back. It's going to be a pretty cool build. This one will have a 6-speed versus the 5-speed. My car has the NV 4500. This one will get a NV 5600. Made it to a 205 transfer case. Should be a pretty cool build once it's done. We're keeping all the body panels on this one, keeping the hood, not doing big shock towers. It'll have shock towers on it. We got some 14-inch rad flows for the front of this one. Nothing sticking through the hood or anything. Maybe the turbo sticking through the hood. I'm not real sure yet. All custom frame, factory radius arm up front from the Super Duty. It'll get leaf springs in the back. This one here is going to be a lot like Greta. Be mildly wheeled, but it'll be set up to tow a trailer and everything, so that we can just kind of have a matching pair, I guess you'd say. We're going to pull Vicky in here, start getting her tore apart, get this body off this frame so we can start mocking up engine, transmission, transfer case, and start building some frame rails. So hopefully y'all stick with us and we're gonna have some fun. Got the body off the frame. I only forgot one thing, and that was the speedometer cable. Went down there to unbolt it, and it pulled right out. We're saving the park brake cable because we're going to hook the park brake back up, seeing how this will be a standard. Pull this fuel tank, and this will actually get cut out because we have a 44-gallon tank that will go in the back of this car. We'll cut the floor out, and it'll set up inside just like Greta's tank does. What's up, everybody? Gonna get back on Vicky here. We got all of our body mount plates made with new body mounts. Got a 3/16 plate, cut them on 3-inch square. Got all brand new bolts. There's 16 of these. Got a solid plate for these up here, and then our front ones. So got all those laid out. The material that we're using is a 2x4, and I think it's quarter wall. It's heavy, I'll say that. Maybe quarter, maybe 3/16. I think it's quarter. Anyway, so we're gonna start laying out some frame rails. The way that I'm gonna do the frame is I'm only doing one step out on my car. From the body mount, it steps over, and then it steps over again where to meet the factory frame. I'm gonna come out here and step over one and then go straight back. So it's gonna have a solid straight frame rail all the way back and into the trunk area. We've got a 44-gallon excursion fuel tank that is going to go in here, so we're going to cut this around, get rid of this pan, so that way that the fuel tank will set up in the trunk of the car. And our idea is to basically go flat from side to side to cover up the tank. Got one frame rail. It's not complete, but it's the majority of the rail. This rail is going to run from here, and then I'm going to have our kick out to go past the core support. This is it here. We're dropping down 10 inches there, and then when we get back here, we're coming back up 5 inches and then straight out the back of the... You ever get in one of those modes and you're just like, you know what, I might as well finish what I was doing before I move to something else and then come back to it? I do that all the time. I guess I do have ADD, ADHD, did some squirrel. Anyway, I went to cut the rest of the frame rail and welded them all together. Took the edge off of all of these, so we get a little more contact on the weld. And we are going to go ahead and do some fish plates on the sides of the chassis. So I went ahead and just welded the top and bottom of them. Once we get closer to the point of welding everything out, we'll get our fish plates and all on it, and then welded all that out. It's a start of a frame. So we're fixing to put that dude in it. Got that cross member there, and then we just got some angle iron welded on the front and rear. There's our little kick out pieces to go past the core support. What do you think?
Looking good.
Ready to drive her already. All right, so we're gonna call it an evening tonight, but frame is sitting in there where I want it. I do have these mounts here tacked in. Nice little clearance on the floor. There's our rear cross member, and it's basically right hanging down right under where the factory bumper is going to go, which will be nice when we cap this and put our receiver tube in it. What is up, everybody? So finally got this frame mounted underneath the car. I don't have all of the body mounts done on it just yet because I'm going to be tying the sliders into these body mount, these two body mounts here, this one here and this one here. My plan is to come from here and come out into the slider and then just tie the body mount straight down like that. Front mounts tacked in for the core support. Got our little kickouts. So frame there, just seen the firewall mounts there. And then on the back I did just a little tower to do those two mounts there, and it's tied in on the inside, and then these two mounts here. We've got a big trailer hitch for a Super Duty that's going to go on the back, and I am putting the factory bumpers back on the car. So I'm not going to do the rear body mount just yet until I get ready to do the bumper mount and all that, so that I can tie the rear body mount into that bumper mount, which I think I'm going to come off the top of here and build some kind of a mount for the bumper, and then that body mount will tie into there. And then our hitch, I think we're going to slice this slide the hitch in it, and then cap the back. Got the front axle hanging, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put the front axle in and start mocking up the suspension on it at ride height with it hanging from strap. Gonna be a good look right there. So we got the front end set, and y'all are gonna like this. I mean, if it works, is it really a dumb idea? Yeah. Got our pinion angle set. Perfect. So we got set these up here, measure off center of the ball joints. We got 6.5 inches on each side, and then I just use this little reference right here for our back to back. And then I do have some of these older Fabtech 4-link arms that we're going to be using on this, and they've got caster adjustability down there, which I'm going to try to set the caster as close as possible and then put those at 0. So now we're going to get these lowers bolted up, and all I have are the 2 lowers. So what I'm going to do is actually make an upper from here, and it will weld to this one, essentially just making us a radius arm. And then the other side, we're going to leave it with just a lower arm on it so that it won't bind during the suspension cycle. All right, so we got our radius arms set up, got them bolted in. Here's how I ended up doing the brackets. The way that the axle mount actually sits just inside the chassis a little bit. So I cut these to where these would actually sit to the inside of the chassis. And then whenever I get them welded up, then I'll come in and put a plate gusset on the back side. I did run into a small issue. So this one here, put it on, roll it up, and it hits. And we're a good ways away from the frame there. So what I'm gonna do is notch this out right there so it'll clear. And then that should solve that issue. Well, that turned out weird. Cutting it with that Milwaukee saw, it bowed everything. I don't know. Oh well, we'll make it work. Got the control arm done and was able to get one strap off the front axle. Winning! So there's my upper part. Morning, everybody. So another day out here in the shop, fixing to get started on mounting these rear leaf springs. This is how it's going to sit. So the chassis is narrower than what these pads are. So we're going to cut those pads off, and I'm going to build the leaf springs to the inside of the chassis out, which will actually help a little bit on articulation, but still be able to hold plenty of weight back here in the back as far as towing goes. So going to incorporate my leaf spring hanger into my fish plate. So this is all going to be one big huge plate. And then same on the other side. We'll just have to build it out on this side. So that should actually turn out pretty nice. And then on the rear, what I usually do is I'll get the rear end bolted to the release springs, get the car set down, and then I'll just put blocks in between here to figure out how long of a shackle I need, where I need to put my other spring hanger, if I'm gonna do a bushing or whatever. But that's how I figure out my height in the rear. Side of the leaf spring hanger, front hanger done, and well, I say done, almost done. I got one more gusset that I need to put in it, but turned out pretty sweet, if I think. So here's the inside. Of course, it's just flat plate, doubles as our fish plate, and then this side we put plate here and here, and then did it like that so that it's kind of hanging off the outside of the chassis. I like it myself. So we're gonna call it a day, but I'm gonna call it a good day. We have her sitting on tire. I feel like it's setting perfect. Once we get the fuel cell or the fuel tank in it and all that, it'll come down just a little bit. 44-gallon fuel tank out of an Excursion. So, and then we got hitch and bumpers and that kind of thing. Here's what she looks like. That thing is sexy. Now I am 6'2". It comes up to my shoulder. Car's kind of tall, but we're trying to keep from cutting too much of the fenders. And like I say, we can probably lower it a little bit if we need to. Right now, it's not sitting down in the dowels on the blocks. This is a Ford rear end. I think these are Chevrolet leaf springs, and so the centering pin is a little bit bigger than what the leaf spring pads are. So it's not sitting down in those, and of course it's just sitting there. And then I have a 2x4 right here to keep the leaf spring off the frame, see where we're sitting at. Well, those springs are going to be nice and flat. There's my spring hanger. Of course, I got to come in and weld all of this. I don't know that I'm gonna cap this. I kind of like the way that it looks, but we'll talk with Junior and see what he thinks. If he wants to cap that, we will. But I kind of like the way it looks like that. It matches the front. The fronts are just on the inside of the frame, where these are on the outside of the frame. When we finish the car, we will come back in and plate this so that you don't see through there. We will be hooking up the factory filler neck, and probably going to cut the fenders back a little bit to get the wheel well centered up over the tire. On the front fenders, will definitely be cutting those. I moved it forward because I didn't want any kind of interference here, and so we'll chop the fender here and open it up to match the rear part there. All in all, I am super happy with how this thing is coming together. Really makes me not like my car anymore, because my car was just thrown together, but my car is going to get quite a few changes up here real soon. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for following along, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We're at like 812, I think, subscribers. We're getting close to that gauntlet, to that 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm excited about that. I'm very grateful for the help that I've got. Lance Bush with Restored and Turning Rust, he helped me out quite a bit. Brent from PFI Speed, he had my car on his channel. I've been on Cletus's channel a couple of times. Talked with Derek Beery a couple of times from Vice Grip Garage. All super cool dudes. And I appreciate every bit of help that I've gotten from every influencer that I've been in touch with. Remember, if y'all have a dream, get out there and do it. You know, you don't have to have a lot of money to have fun. To me, having fun with no money makes you feel a little bit better about yourself when you can build something like what I build with scrap parts, and especially when people tell you that you can't do it or what you're trying to do won't work. My car is a perfect example. Get after those dreams. Somebody tells you no, that won't work, do it anyway. Just prove them wrong. If y'all have any questions or comments or anything, leave them down below. I appreciate everything. I appreciate criticism. It doesn't bother me. This is how we learn. I'm learning every day. I don't know it all, but I do what I think will work, and it usually comes out right. So with that being said, see y'all on the next one.